But first on WHAS 11 News, very humid today and hot as we are eyeing stormy weather for tomorrow. But we do want to bring you up to date on what you can expect for the nighttime hours on this Thursday. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell has declared a weather impact day for tomorrow. But what about tonight first, Mallory?
So we do have the potential of seeing a few showers or storms this evening and into tonight. I do think anything we see this evening will have greatly weakened before it gets to our point. And then into early tomorrow morning, we could see some scattered storms as well. But really all eyes are on tomorrow afternoon and evening for our greatest severe weather threat. All threats are on the table in terms of damaging winds, large hail, and spin-up tornadoes. So you do want to make sure you have several ways to receive warnings over the next 24 to 36 hours. Satellite and radar, all is dry for us. We've just been seeing periodic cloud cover moving through Kentuckiana today, but we're certainly feeling some of that storm fuel. Just take a look at the dew points right now, upper 60s and lower 70s. That is pretty impressive, and that lets you know that there's a lot of moisture in the air. Actual temperatures are in the 80s, but those feel-like temperatures climbing to around 90 degrees in some spots, including Louisville. You can see even though we are dry, I am keeping an eye on these storms off to our southwest. We can tell on the loop here, they're really struggling to get going. So that's some good news as we carry on into this evening, because if they did make it into the area, we do have plenty of heat and humidity, but we do have a cap in place that we keep talking about thanks to that warmer air in the atmosphere. So a couple showers possible this evening, better chance I think for some scattered storms tomorrow morning, and then all eyes turn on tomorrow afternoon and evening for that greatest severe weather threat. We're going to have a lot of energy to tap into. We'll take you through hour by hour our severe weather threats tomorrow. That's coming up in our extended forecast.
Mallory, thank you. President Donald Trump has finally approved individual assistance for more Kentucky counties affected by widespread April flooding, including Louisville. The new counties include Bullitt, Jefferson, Nelson, Oldham, Henry, Meade, Grayson, LaRue, Trimble, and Carroll County.
The declaration officially unlocks funding through the Individual Assistance Program through FEMA. Now that allows folks to receive reimbursement for the essential expenses and the serious needs that weren't covered by insurance or other forms of aid.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to sell it, FEMA's going to buy it, what's going to happen?
But as you heard, there still remain some unanswered questions about how much help people will actually get. Now, we first told you about retired firefighter Tommy Hedden in the immediate aftermath of the flooding. 39 days later, he has the disaster declaration.
But now he wants change and help that comes from closer to home. Ian Hardwick and photojournalist Jessica Farley checked back on him after we talked to him first in April.
It's never going to be a home again.
It's taken him more than a month, but now Tommy Hedden is leaving his Nelson County farmhouse for good. To stay, he said the Kentucky Division of Water needed him to raise the house 15 feet up into the air.
Where do I have this money? I'm not made out of that. I've spent all of our savings just to get where we're at.
What'd you have to spend it on?
Buying new stuff. We didn't have anything. We lost it all. Couches, tables, washer, dryer. And then you still had to make the house payment here and still pay rent.
On an island, here's his property on April 10th from our Sky 11 drone. Hedden's home sits on a raised berm meant to protect it. Instead, it was swimming in the water.
How long do we wait?
39 days after Hedden was rescued. FEMA approved Nelson County and many other Kentucky counties for individual assistance. The disaster declaration means Hedden can be paid back for some of what he spent putting his life back together, but he doesn't have a dime of that money yet.
Did you feel any better once you heard the news that it was approved?
Yeah, I do. I feel a little bit better, but it's still the unknown.
Which is why he wishes the help came sooner and from closer to home.
I believe it should be the state. Do it within days, hours, whatever.
The better way to get speed is to have it more local.
Senator Rand Paul agrees, although he backed up Governor Andy Beshear's request for FEMA's assistance with Senator Mitch McConnell.
When states are asked to pay more of their fair share, they just have to make difficult decisions. They can raise taxes, they can spend more on this than they spend on something else. But that's what being a legislator is about. It's about making choices.
While Hedden already misses holidays in his old home,
We've got to figure out where the new members are going to be.
his choice is moving on. In Nelson County, Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11, on your side.
A FEMA spokesperson told us today they are working on opening disaster recovery centers in all affected counties like Nelson, LaRue, and Bullitt.
Jefferson County will likely be one of the first sites to open, and that's what they told us today.
Well, Buffalo Trace, America's oldest continually operating distillery, is 90% cleaned up since historic April floods. They say flood levels reached record heights at the distillery,
wiping out 75% of their storefront merchandise and rising up to some of the famed bourbon barrels in storage there. New today, Alexandra Goldberg and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton headed to Franklin County to Buffalo Trace to see how they're recovering.
Here at Buffalo Trace, everywhere you go, you can smell the smells of bourbon. You could hear the machines and the workers hard at work, distilling and bottling bourbon. But just last month, this building, like much of the campus, was completely underwater.
It's back to business here at Blanton's Bottling Hall. But near record flooding in April made Buffalo Trace essentially its own island. Right after the river receded, the aerial view looked like this.
So you can see all the way at the top there, at 2025, it reached nearly the ceiling of this building we are in right now.
General Manager Tyler Adams calls this building Bourbon Pompeii. It's the most western point of the Frankfort campus, bordering the unruly Kentucky River.
To note that just a few weeks ago, we would have been underwater here. And here we are, we've got it back. We're doing tours again, right? We're recovering.
The biggest impact, he says, was to retail.
About 75% of our merchandise and products and available for sale was scrapped, all underwater. So we're talking everything from stuffed buffaloes to copper mugs.
And their beloved bourbons, drawing 600,000 visitors just last year. Post-flood, they're busy bottling, and you can only hope you can get your hands on a bottled Blanton's. In Louisville, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS11 on your side.
Buffalo Trace says this historic flood comes right after they had a $1 billion expansion project.
That project also took on water, but has since been cleaned up.
Another developing story today. More tolls? No kidding, folks. Revenue is trending downward in the state of Indiana, so that state is now seriously considering adding tolls to some of our well-known roads to help pay for upkeep. And we are talking like one big one we all know and drive, I-65. It's a bumpy ride on Indiana interstates where finding money to fix them has gotten harder and harder, according to the people in Indianapolis. So lawmakers say they don't see another viable option other than tolling the major interstates. Lawmakers say the gas tax, Indiana's primary source of road funding revenue, is just not cutting it. The two roads most talked about for tolls, I-65 and I-70, all the way across the state. Indiana Governor Mike Braun has said he is open to the idea.
Well, Kentucky is now helping with the overwhelming lines at driver's license branches by opening special appointments for 15-year-olds to get their permits. We told you about the state opening 1,500 spots for May 17th. The statewide event opens up 20 regional offices for the permit written test and opens another 14 branches for full licensing. You can find the full list of locations on drive.ky.gov.